Hello guys, and welcome to another video, and this one we're going to be talking a little bit about Vengeant Cascade. Now I haven't talked about this notable too much. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. This is a notable that has to be allocated to your character through anointing it on your amulet or on a blight unique piece of gear, because it doesn't appear on the passive tree. That's the only way you can get it, and people have been talking about it a lot. A lot of people actually been playing it in this league. Actually, 21% of players in Softcore Trade Crucible League are using this notable right now, and that's including all of the players that can't use it because it wouldn't work on their build because they're using spells or something that can't interact with it. So that's a lot of players using it, and the reason why it's being used so much in this patch is due to a change in the patch notes for Crucible League, and you might Control F Vengeant Cascade and you're looking for that exact change, but the actual change wasn't to do with Vengeant Cascade specifically. It was just a general mechanic change. This was a simplification of the returning of projectiles mechanic, and this basically tidied up the interaction with a lot of projectile skills, and now this notable works as expected most of the time, and the projectiles are returning to you. The actual mechanic here on the notable says that the projectiles return to you, but for a lot of abilities, they'll just return to the firing point. For example, with Volcanic Fissure, they'll return to the fissure in the ground that spawned the projectiles in the first place, rather than actually returning back to you. And it's a little bit buggy for some abilities, like the Molten Burst skill that this unique axe grants you. This one kind of just refires the same projectile animation twice when Vengeant Cascade is allocated, but it is still working, it is still actually playing that interaction, and the projectiles are hitting twice. For a lot of abilities, this is just doubling the damage that they can deal. If I'm being completely honest with you on this one, I'm not really convinced this is the healthiest way to grant power to projectile attack builds. I think it would have been better to just bring the power level of those skills up at the gem level, boost their flat damage, boost their damage effectiveness, allow Vengeant Cascade to come in after that, and that way you can implement a less global damage modifier on Vengeant Cascade, and that way you get the same end result, you get the same power level of these projectile attack builds, but those builds are not forced into taking this notable. And it really feels like that for most skills right now. It feels like you absolutely have to use Vengeant Cascade because there is no better option. It's just so powerful. And it's not just bow abilities either, it's also melee skills as well that fire projectiles like Molten Strike and Volcanic Fissure. The Vengeant Cascade notable just feels mandatory on all of those abilities because of how good it is. And I think one of the biggest abuse cases for this node right now in the league has to be the Poison Molten Strike builds that are using it with the Pneumatic Dagger. That's a Heist base, you can only get it from Heist. And this dagger allows you to deal poison with all damage that the dagger deals, so any kind of elemental damage or things like that, even the flat fire damage that comes on the Molten Strike gem, all of that damage is going to be able to inflict poison as long as you have the chance to actually poison, and that's really powerful. And this is a crazy abuse of this mechanic in particular because you stack additional projectiles through things like the Greater Multiple Projectiles support gem. The less damage modifier on the GMP support only applies to projectile damage, so you don't have that less damage applying to the poisons that are being inflicted by the Molten Strike projectiles. And then you have Vengeant Cascade allocated on top of that, and with some AoE overlap, a bunch of these projectiles are going to be hitting twice thanks to Vengeant Cascade, and that's going to be stacking tons of poisons. And this is just kind of broken on Molten Strike poison for that reason. But even on builds that are not abusing that particular interaction, it's just insane how impactful this one node is. It's really powerful. And it just feels like there's no choice for your anoint. It's like it has to be this notable and nothing else comes close. What do you guys think? Would you like to see projectile attack abilities buffed and Vengeant Cascade nerfed so the power level is similar to what it is right now, but those builds don't feel like they're shoehorned into having to have this anoint? Or perhaps you like it and think it should stay? Or maybe you just feel like this is a poor mechanic overall and needs to go away. Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, stay tuned and stay safe.